Welcome to the Audacity, the podcast by women for women. I'm your host, Lisa, and I'm joined by the Sovereign Woman.
Hello, hello.
And unfortunately, Gwen could not join us today, but she will be back next week. We have an awesome show for y'all today. We're going to be covering some juicy topics in our tea time. We have more men complaining about women not cooking and cleaning. And it just keeps getting worse. I have so much to say about this. And then Sovereign is going to be talking about women in male fields and possibly a couple more topics if we have the time. You know, since Gwen's not here with her tea, we might throw in a little surprise subject for y'all. And then in our main segment, we'll be talking about whether men and possibly women are being doomed by our social media algorithms. And I did a lot of research on this leading up to the episode, so I'm excited to share that with y'all. I know Sovereign's got some thoughts on that too, and we'll be sure to cover it. Let us know if you have any thoughts, questions, opinions about that. And last but not least, we'll have a mailbag segment. And then in our crumpets, we have a very interesting discussion regarding whether it is better to be feared or loved in your relationship. And so if you are a TVIP member, you will get that segment on Friday. And speaking of TVIP members, we have a shout out to a brand new TVIP member, Emily. Welcome.
Woo!
Yay.
Welcome, Emily. Welcome. And speaking of Patreon shout outs, if you have not subscribed to us, you should, because you get a lot of perks. And that includes getting member shout outs, early ad-free episodes, which that's a huge perk. A lot of people don't like the ads. And it's early because you'll be able to see them before everyone else. You get VIP chats. And you get exclusive access to our crumpet sections where Lisa and Gwen and I become a little unhinged and we are uncensored and it's pretty fun and we have really fun topics. And you also get voting power when it comes to a lot of the segments that we do. So don't forget to join.
Thank you, Sovereign. Yes. Please join. Please follow us on all the forms of social media you can think of. If you can think of it, we're probably on there. I think excluding like Discord and
Facebook.
Yeah, like Facebook. Yeah,
we're not on Facebook, are we?
I don't think we'll ever be on Facebook,
Never.
But we are on Instagram. So find us there. Thank you so much. And are we ready to dive into our tea, Sovereign? Should we start with your video? That one is really fun. We have a little presentation for y'all.
Women in men's fields. Tell him that you want to focus on yourself and then get with a new guy the following week. Tell him you want to see him and then make no effort to see him. When he catches you in a lie, hit him with, believe what you want. Tell him you've never felt this way before, knowing you'll never see him again. If he sends you a long paragraph expressing his feelings, text back, but only respond to the least important part. When he reacts to something bad that you did, turn around and call him crazy and dramatic. Tell him you'll never do that to him, knowing you very much already have. When he asks why your ex keeps calling you, just say, he's obsessed. It's so annoying. When he asks, what are we? You ask why you have to put a label on it.
Fair.
Listen, I've been...
What is this trend called again?
Binging women in men's field, and also... some women are calling it women being in their villain era. I've seen that. So some of these videos are from last year, but they're making their rounds again because people are like reposting them. And I want so many women to see these. Oh my God. But like the last couple of days, I've been binging the entire F out of those videos and they are good ones. And the guys' reactions to them, have you seen those? Like chef's kiss. They're like, what? Really? That's horrible. It's like, really? Yeah, it is horrible.
Wasn't one of the guys like questioning himself in the comment section?
Yeah, there was one. No, he did a video. He was like, it's making me, this women in men's field trend is making me question, am I actually a monster? And I'm like, yeah, you probably are if you were doing those things. So yeah, Lisa had been saying for the longest time that women need to be equal to men on all fronts. Treat them the way, like literally just return energy. And that's what this whole thing is. And I'm loving it. And, you know, I think this is the only way some men, because a lot of them are not going to change, but some of them will start to see what it's like. A lot of times I'm a huge believer in that. Like people don't know and will never know what something is like until it's done to them. And so like I am, listen, when I tell you I am all for that, So
Yeah, well, because it seems like men are being raised without empathy. And so how do you combat that? Like you can't make them be empathetic towards you because they don't know what that is. So unless you like, right? So unless you literally mirror their behavior back to them, that's when they start picking up on it. Like I had seen, trends of women doing this, and sometimes their husbands have been rehabilitated from it. Like even though I don't, recommend entering into marriage with that kind of person, like pro tip, ladies, like don't do any of that stuff before you get married. It's the only, and after, like literally my husband was talking to his sister on the phone the other day, and he was like, yeah, like Lisa's just so terrible at putting Costco stuff away. Like she'll just put stuff on top of things and like she just won't take it out. And I was like, pro tip. She was on speaker and I was like, there you go. Pro tip. Like seriously. Yeah, I'm really bad at a lot of things around the house. Like I just don't know how to do it. So
I love it.
And my husband has to do it. And it's like, he really appreciates whatever household labor that I do perform because he knows it's not easy. So it's kind of like, it's really the only way to have an equitable relationship. Just don't do anything that you don't like want to do or that you don't see them doing. And then decide if it's worth it for you. Like, if he doesn't step up, then leave. He's not marriage material. He doesn't know how to cook, doesn't know how to clean. Like, what do you mean? And he probably expects you to pay 50% of the bills. Like, what are you doing? Oh my God,
that's the word. That right there, it pisses me off every time. Because it's never, ladies, again, because we've talked about this many times, it is never going to be 50-50 if you have children and if you also work outside of the home. It's never going to be 50-50 for you. So don't agree to it. Because you're going to be working outside of the home and raising the kids and doing all of the household chores. No, it needs to be divided down the middle or something. Otherwise, it's not. So women fall for that trap every time. But, a lot of women go into marriage and relationships believing it's their duty to cook and clean and do all these things and swing from the chandeliers.
It's just like, and it's just like, what if we were actually radical with our expectations, as women? Like, what if we were actually like, I won't marry you unless you know how to cook, clean, how to put it down, know how to do everything, because it's like men really come in with all of that audacity, ready to take up all the space in your life so you can clean up after yourself, you can clean up after him, you can cook for yourself, you can cook for him, all this stuff. It's like, no, how about we start laying out those kinds of expectations? Because, that only seems fair, right?
Right. I think was it Cecilia Regina who said that she wants to see more women walking around with the audacity of a man or something like that.
Probably. She's full of...
More women need to do that.
Full of gems.
Ladies, that's the only way. That's the only way. Like, you're not going to send a million paragraphs to a man on a text message. It's not going to make a difference. You can scream to him till you're blue in the face. You can wake up every day and yell and scream. The only way men are going to hear you is to do back to them what they've done to you. And I listen, I don't care what that is. Oh, that was another one. Women shouldn't be cheating back. They should be cheating first, which is diabolical. But
cheat forward. Oh, absolutely.
I love that so much. But yeah, so y'all know, I hope y'all know how to take this in stride and, in context. I'm not, if your husband has not cheated on you, don't cheat on your husband. But if you're in a situation where the dynamics are not equal, make it equal by doing back to them. Like, it just is what it is. And if I'm telling you right now, that's the only way it's going to work. And if you don't do it, then you can't complain about what's happening, because he's not going. Men only understand consequences, and
that's the thing. It's the only thing that works, and it kind of works almost every single time. Like, if you really turn on your heel and you just stop, they will be so confused, and they will really want to, like, the way that they behave after all of that is really going to give you the ick, because it's the perfect, like, vetting thing. I'm so serious, because if you vet using this strategy and you just kind of do to them however they were going to treat you, you will find that a lot of men will get in their feelings. you know, and they'll be like really gross about it. And they'll be like, yeah, well, I wasn't going to do all that for you, but like you should do all that for me. And you'll be like, what are you, a baby? Like it'll give you the ick. I'm telling you.
Yes, it will.
And even if it's one of those things where like he hasn't been acting right for the longest time, and then you turn on your heel and you give him a taste of his own medicine, and then he starts acting all like falling all over himself to like get you back, a lot of the times that will give you the ick. If not the first time, the second time, or the third time, which leads me, this kind of leads perfectly segues into my tea time, because we have another man crying about not being fed like a dang baby. And basically we're going off of Offset's like latest song lyrics.
I could have sworn I just seen him
I
saying that they're at peace right now or something like that. So now they're not at peace. Like, what is
you know, with narcissist men, it's a really,
I know,
you just can't, like, I've actually was listening to somebody I know talk about this recently. Her ex is a narcissist, and she was like, you just never know. Like, you're just always walking around on eggshells, like, and they have to kind of co-parent their kid. And so she's like, I just never know. Like, I'll have a moment of respite, and then he'll just come up with something off the top of his head and like just start beefing with me. And so yeah, you just never can feel safe around them. So Offset said in his latest song, you never cook no food. You just want to go out to Nobu, telling me shit that you don't do, telling me shit that you won't do. You effed around with the wrong dude. Hope your next guy will be great, etc. Which is so funny. I mean, first of all, you have to respect a diva who lives by her lyrics. Like, I don't cook, I know, right? I don't clean. That's amazing. She told y'all, I don't know why y'all are surprised. But the rhetoric around this from the men is, of course, like, I'll never be able to unhear that thing that Public says about men's like circular logic. And this is such a perfect example of it, where when someone says Offset was cheating because he was hungry. All he needed was some fried chicken and homemade macaroni, and he would have been okay. And unfortunately, this was posted by a woman, but it's like a male-centered woman and a man are really very similar. So it's like, but this is men's logic. It's like he was hungry, that's why he cheated. But it's like, if we go from point A to point B, right? Point A is men are providers. That's why women need to know how to cook and clean. So that, you know, because men are providers, so that women need to know how to cook and clean. Okay, well, what if a woman is a provider? Well, women still need to know how to cook and clean, and he's going to cheat on you if you don't cook. Okay, so we're just back to point A. Because to me, it's like there's point A, there's point B, and then point C would be the logical conclusion.
Right.
But it's like, why are we going back to point B when we're talking about two millionaires? Like, I don't know which one of them has more money. Not to fucking mention that they were going 50-50.
Oh, I know.
Famously. Yeah. So like, yeah, like Cardi B has talked about that multiple times. Like, yeah, I pay 50% of the bills. And, you know, I don't know. She was definitely making it sound like it was her idea, but you never know.
And then after they separated, apparently she was the only one paying for their school and whatever else. So
that's how it always goes.
I was just going to say, he did the typical man thing when when they lose.
Doesn't even matter how much money
they don't even care about their own kids after that. Like that man, there's no way.
But listen, Sovereign, what if she just cooked for him though?
Yeah, because cooking was going to keep him faithful.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Like,
that irritates me so much when male identified women say stuff like that. Like, girl, you know damn well cooking that man food did not keep your man faithful.
Exactly.
They just sit there and lie, and they know they've been getting cheated on, and
like.
He's
not going to pick you out of the crowd, babe. Like,
no, not at all. And even if he does pick you, he's just going to pick you. It's going to be your turn. You're next up on the chopping block to be humiliated.
Exactly.
That's it. Like, that's all you're getting. You're not going to get anything great.
Because Cardi gave him 3 children, right? I think it's like 3.
Why? And just why?
Well, you know, and I'm like, I know. And it's like, so well, what was the 50-50 on that? I wonder. That's
he won. Remember, she's his baby mama,
Yeah.
So he won. That was his whole like. Oh my god, that pisses me off.
But now he's upset that she didn't cook. You know, the logic is circular, right? You ain't shit, but I won because you're my baby mama.
She didn't cook in the beginning.
Exactly.
I'm sure she didn't cook when they got together and he still married her because he had his own
agenda. Why was she
agenda.
gonna cook?
He had his own agenda.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he won that agenda so far. So that's the part that pisses me off the most. But men will know that they're going to cheat and lie and play mind games. When things don't work out in their favor, they just use that as the reason why it didn't work out, even though they already knew they wasn't. Just like the Halle Berry guy.
Absolutely.
And some woman came on my comments when I made that video, and because I usually put Halle Berry in like the reference, the last few videos I've done, as a reference of like women who are hopeless romantics always get taken advantage of. She was like, well, she seems very happy in her marriage, you know, and whatever. And I was like, yeah, she seemed happy in all her marriages. She seemed ecstatically happy in all her marriages. And they all went up in flames. Yeah, and I'm like, the guy she's with now, his face looks more diabolical than the rest of the guys that she was with. It's just something about him. I'm like, he's going to be upset if she doesn't marry him and things are not going to work out. I don't think things are going to work out anyways. But that's just because I don't think guys get with Halle Berry for the right reasons. That's just my own personal opinion. That's just my own thought. That's not gospel. But I just can tell, like, guys see her as an easy lick. I can just tell.
I agree with you on that. Yeah. Yeah,
she's a hopeless romantic. And hopeless romantic women are going to always try. They're always going to put themselves out there for slaughter. Because they think that the men coming to them are coming with good intentions, and they're usually not. Especially in Hollywood. Oh, yeah, forget it.
You're right. And if he's not also like on your level, you know what I mean? Chances are he's just using you as a come up or as a wallet or something like that. Like, men are the real gold diggers. I say this all the time too. They're the real monkey branchers, because tell me why then they're like, oh yeah, women will cheat on their man with the next man. And it's like monkey branching, like they're going to the next branch, whatever. Okay, so then tell me why every man will be like not famous, will be married to like his high school sweetheart, the love of his life, whatever, soon as literally the moment he gets his big break, he will always cheat on that woman. Always. And then marry some celebrity like 2 months later. Explain that.
The woman could be 9 months pregnant and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Just in the last couple of years, we've seen this with like Ethan Slater, the Ariana Grande thing. We saw this with Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter. Like, it just happens. Both of those men had children by their high school sweethearts. Whole ass children. And you're telling me they weren't monkey branching to a hotter, you know, more successful woman they could attach themselves to for clout is crazy.
And that's one of the downfalls for women too, is like they will get with a guy that's like in his college football career or his college basketball career, or they see him as a come up themselves. And I get it. I mean, it's like you want to attach yourself and have a baby with him because he's finna be famous. But what women don't understand is that men typically don't think the way we do. You're thinking about how you can attach yourself to this man because he's on his come up. He's going to automatically be looking for a replacement for you. Like, he's going to be looking to better deal you as soon as he get the opportunity, because that's typically why he's motivated to be in those circles or be famous and stuff anyways, so that he can have access to allegedly better quality women. And so that's where women get it messed up. Like, oh God, I wish I could just shake women like, get your hooks into him another way. Don't let it be by a baby, unless you really don't care about him and you really just want the money, like the child support. If you are okay with that, then
it's
fine.
not gonna be worth it.
But I don't think so either, especially not for the child growing up with a famous dad that walked out on them. That's going to be very traumatizing to them. But a lot of people don't think about the kids. I mean, if you really think about it, if you really thought about the kids, you probably would choose not to have them in the first place. Right. If you really thought about the kids.
we definitely.
I'm just saying.
I know.
But people don't think about it, so it's like.
For more info on that, listen to our episode from last week. We talked about that a lot, because it's very true. Like, it's not worth it ultimately, because there is nothing that is going to stop a man from living his best life. Like, we've literally have seen men murder their wife and children just because they didn't like how the divorce was going. So it's like, far be it for a man to just like dump you. Like, that's the easiest thing he's gonna do. You know what I mean? That's super easy for him. Cheat on you, that's so easy.
Yeah, but they really think it's easier to just, I mean, those men who have killed their wives just because they wanted to be with their mistress, and the only way out of this, it's not divorce, it's not breaking up, I have to kill this bitch. Like, in their mind, this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they will do, oh my God. I'm so glad you said
literally
that.
anything.
They will stop at nothing to get rid of you if they don't. They're not gonna not live their best life. It's just not gonna happen. And if they are suffering because they're not doing what they want to do, they're gonna make sure you suffer the entire time. Like
they'll just
they're
stop
gonna
paying
make you
for stuff.
They'll make you so miserable. They'll pick fights with you out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he's irritable all the time. Those are signs, ladies. But if your man is just starting to be irritable for no reason, every little thing is setting him off, you feel like you got to walk on eggshells now. He's probably cheating, or he wants to, or he wants out, and he just doesn't know. He's taking a coward's way out in most cases.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them will. So like, and women will gaslight themselves all the way to the bitter end. It's like, get out while you can. Get out while he's
while you're still alive.
Hasn't been plotting. Hasn't been plotting against you for too long. Get your own lawyer. Get ahead of things, because once you start seeing any of the signs, it's over. That's why we always encourage, keep your job, keep working, keep saving. You should always have money to get out of a relationship. Like if you're ever going to attach yourself to somebody like that, you should always have the means to get out, because otherwise you are trapped, and that is very scary. So never depend. The hand that feeds you can also starve you.
It very often does.
Can just get hit by a bus, so.
You on this bus.
I'm just saying, even if you're convinced that your man is you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, if he's a great man and he's a wonderful provider, he could be hit with prostate cancer next week.
Have 3 months to live, drain your savings, all that. We promised we wouldn't get dark on tea time. We promised Ryan we would stop doing this. Okay,
well, Ryan's back there
he's gonna wrap it up. Okay, wait, let's keep it light real quick with this very funny but short, no pun intended, tea time about Kevin Hart, who challenged the hubris of men. I really think that is just such an overarching theme in a lot of these crazy stories that we cover on tea time. It's always men's audacity. It's just so funny to me. Every problem we have in the world is because some man just thought, well, I can do that. I've never seen this in my life, but I bet I could do that. What? Their ego telling them, their ego is, whispering shit in their ear. So it says Kevin Hart has been supported by his celebrity pals after he ended up in a wheelchair while settling a debate. The actor and comedian says he can't walk after challenging retired NFL star Stevan Ridley to a race to find out who is faster. I'm just going to stop there. Who do you think is going to be faster?
How far did he run? How long was it
Right. Yeah. How long was it? 100 meters? Let's see. He said, it doesn't say. So it says, however, things didn't go too well for the Get Hard star, who ended up tearing his lower abdomen. I tried to jump out there and do some young stuff, and I was told to sit my ass down. He told his Instagram followers, calling himself the dumbest man alive.
Oh my God.
Well,
how do you tear your lower abdomen by running? How does that happen?
Because you have to, do you know what I mean? You just have to think like a man. That's all. I don't know. That's the only requirement. You're just literally thinking.
You're so blinded by what, ego and delusion?
It's your ego. Exactly. Yes.
I can't.
Yeah, so if you had to use a walker and everything,
I don't feel sorry for him though either. That's the
course
crazy part.
not.
I feel zero. I feel nothing. Hearing that, and I feel nothing.
Nothing. I'm glad that he learned a valuable lesson, because it's so many men think like this.
But did he though? Dum, dum, dum.
He called himself the dumbest man alive. So I hope so. I hope that he had a takeaway from that was maybe I'm just not cut out for absolutely everything. Maybe there's things that we shouldn't. You know what I mean? It almost makes me feel better though that men do this to other men too, because we see this a lot of times where men do this to women. They're like, oh, you run track? I bet I could run faster than you. I've never ran a day in my life, or men who are my wife's training for a marathon, so I'm just going to run it the day of with no training.
Remember that story about that guy who pushed his son or daughter, or let the kid,
I think it was multiple children
run out.
It was 2 kids.
Really? Yeah, he let the kid run out in front of the mom. I guess to try to stop her from winning, I guess, or whatever it was, which he clearly Remember, our theory was he did it on purpose to sabotage her. Like, come on now. But I'm glad. But she kept going. She kept going. And did she win? Didn't she win? Did she end up winning that?
Yes.
Yeah. So she bypassed her kid and she kept running. And people were dragging her online saying she wasn't a good mom. Are you fucking serious? Yeah, that's why he did that shit on purpose. But they do stuff like that to women.
The double standards are crazy, right?
It is.
Yes.
Had it been the other way around, they would have been like, she's not a good mom. How did you let your kid run out there? Oh, that she would have got it so bad.
So bad. Like, it's actually crazy.
You're not even watching your kids.
Yep.
You're
but
horrible.
with the man, it's like, no, he had good intentions. I mean, that woman came out and defended her husband, unfortunately. Tale as old as time.
Did
but she was like, yeah, we talked about them finishing the race with me. Okay, then why didn't they? Then why did you seem so unprepared for it? Like, don't be lying.
I'm sure she cussed him out behind closed doors, but then she got on camera and was like,
right.
oh my
right.
God.
It's always the it's because men want to make you look dumb. Like, if a man is not comfortable with you in your power, if he's not hyping you up at that point, then he's jealous of you. He wants to see you ruined. He wants to see you looking dumb. Like, that's why they do most of what they do.
And I'm not trying to be funny. That would automatically just make me lose interest in a guy. So it's like a guy could play that game on me, but he's really going to play himself because I'm just going to not like you anymore. I'm just literally you're going to give me the ick after
you do
that.
it one time and it's just
and
like,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do better all by
lost
myself.
Me and you lost this battle and you lost me because you didn't win. Like, this is not.
No, seriously, because like as a woman, I just can't. Well, I don't even know as a woman, like as just a healthy, well-adjusted person, I just can't picture being so salty about somebody else's success. Like, your partner should inspire you, should encourage you. Like, especially if you're a man, you should be looking up to your woman, to your wife. Like, she's automatically more of a badass than you because she's been like way more just like put through the ringer throughout her whole life. There's literally, I was listening to a Dean Withers like video, and he was talking to a guy who was like, well, men are like, women shouldn't be in charge because men are better at like not cracking under pressure. And like, he just went off on him. He was like, well, first of all, men don't crack under pressure. Okay, then why are most like suicides committed by men? Like, literally. That's quite literally, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, that's quite literally what that is. Like, you don't crack under pressure. Like, okay, then how come men are so violent? Like, that's all of that's cracking under pressure. Like, how come leadership to a man means yelling, punishment, like all that? You're cracking under pressure. And so like, women are just literally better at a lot of things than men. Men could stand to learn so much from women. Like, if your partner doesn't inspire you to be better, to go harder, like whatever, then you're a jealous, I don't know, like you're a jealous man, like you're a jealous, sore loser. And that's just how a lot of men relate to women. It's like, well, you weren't supposed to be better than me. Like, I was only willing to support you and hype you up until you surpassed me or whatever. It's just like,
I honestly cannot imagine just staying married to somebody that once you find out that they're a hater, once you find out that they're jealous of you or that they're intimidated by your promotion or whatever you just accomplished. Once I find out, and when they make little comments like, oh, you think you a big shot now? Or, all right, big money. That's what we always talk about, Cecilia, Regina, and everybody in the black community. Like, black men will say, all right, big money. Like, when they find out that you make a certain amount of money, that's a precursor to somebody that's jealous of you and somebody that is intimidated by it. So for me personally, I'm able to recognize those signs. I'm literally going to be turned off immediately. Once I know, once that switch flips, it's like, oh my God, not you too. Like, automatically. Because I don't know how women do it. That just drains you. But that's why, have you been seeing people talking more about women having autoimmune disease?
Oh, yeah.
And how that more so, like, most autoimmune diseases are diagnosed in women, and typically those women are married or in long-term relationships. And then it'll clear up after they after they get a divorce.
Did you see the video of the twin women where one of the twins was like, so me and my twin just went to the store and someone said, oh, you look just like your mom or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
And then somebody was like, I bet you, which one of you is married with kids?
Is married and one is, And the one that looked older was the one that was. That's not funny, but it kind of.
It's not funny, but it's true. It's literally will show up. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that just because you have, it's not, the correlation, right, is not 100%. Like you can have an autoimmune disorder and be with a wonderful partner.
Absolutely.
And like that
and you can
sucks.
have one single, of course.
Yes.
Obviously.
And you can have one single. Absolutely. Yeah. But the point is that the kind of stress and the kind of, you know, just like when somebody's being a hater to you, some of us experience this with our mom, even, you know, like some of our earliest ops is like our parents that was stressing us out to that point. And it can happen at any age. It can happen with, you know, anything. And then you'll see once you remove yourself from that situation, that's when you'll be able to start healing. You'll start like looking better. Your skin will clear up, all of these things. And that's because when your body senses that you're in danger or whatever, it starts doing things to like, it starts conserving energy. It releases like cortisol. It, you know, just start like weird things just start happening. You can't explain it. Like why you're not losing weight, like you're doing everything, but you can't lose weight. And I don't know how many women that I've known that was like naturally like slender, you know, and then like all of a sudden they get married and it's just is like
you don't even recognize them.
You don't even recognize them. And it's like then, you know, eventually down the road they'll get a divorce and it's like boom, it's just like snaps like right back. The glow up comes back so fast. And again, that's not to say that weight gain is like not accept, you know what I mean? Or like weight gain means, you know, anything other than that. But like it just sometimes you see those patterns very often because you'll even start to like eat more to self-soothe yourself because it's just like I experienced this with a parent. It's very unfortunate. It's like that's how I can speak to it in men and like because a lot of men just act like narcissists. There's a lot of overlap. If you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you have probably dealt with like a man who is very influenced by the patriarchy. Like a patriarchal man is definitely very much a narcissist. So, well, we got to wrap this segment up, but this has been so fun. We're so sad that Gwen can't join us today because her tea was going to be that this would have been her last time doing the podcast as a 29-year-old because she's turning 30 on Friday. So let's wish Gwen a happy birthday in the comments, and I'm sure we'll give her a shout out next Monday as well. But yes, we love you, Gwenny. Happy birthday. And we will be right back with our segment about the algorithms. Stick around. Alrighty, and welcome back to our main segment. We will be discussing whether we're all doomed by our algorithm. But I think in this one, we're like more specifically referring to men. I did watch a documentary on how women are getting radicalized as well. And that's like a really important piece to cover. But we wanted to just kind of address the fact that if men seem more diabolical lately, I don't think that's an accident. Like, I don't think that that's just like something that women are making up or something that just, you know, has been happening this whole time. I really do think that like, because we all have access to the internet, but especially men, and like, it's so easy for us to just like take out a phone, start scrolling, start looking at, you know, social media. It's kind of been radicalizing men in like a quick and painless way. And it plays up on like the cultural propaganda but eventually it says the quiet part out loud. They have done like studies on this, and whether it is like YouTube, Reddit, Discord, video game chats, like, you know, when you're like speaking over the mic to other people, I forget what that's called, TikTok, even pornography, all of these are algorithms, and they watch what you engage with, and they watch down to the detail of like how long your eyes linger on the video, or like how long you stay on the video before scrolling. And they use all of that information in order to feed your algorithm with what they think you're going to enjoy more based on what you've already been looking at for like longer than, 2 seconds or whatever. Like if you see something and you don't scroll off of it right away, they're going to like feed that more and more of that into your algorithm. When it comes to men, the reason that it's so insidious is because shocking content is very hard to look away from, period. But especially if you're a man, there's this like, kind of like we talked about, there's a lot of hubris and there's a lot of like kind of already existing social propaganda that kind of pushes you to look at shocking content for longer because you're thinking, well, I'm a man, like I might be involved in a situation like this someday, like some kind of street brawl or street fight or something. So you might stick around and watch that longer, or you might think of that as something that men do or should be interested in based on everything else you've seen in real life. Right. And I just feel like it's like a monster that just keeps on like feeding until you're basically a young man that's being inundated with like Andrew Tate clips and like videos of women getting like pushed to the ground and like smacked around or whatever. But it's okay because like she started it by being in somebody's way or like whatever. Like all of these like really weirdly misogynistic things will just start to pop up on their algorithms because the algorithm can't tell the difference between, you know, somebody who just enjoys violence, like UFC type violence, or violence against women. You know what I mean? And all of these companies have been questioned about this. And they're like, oh yeah, we have this state of the art technology. Like we're doing everything we can. And the young men are like, we are literally clicking not interested. And it still keeps showing us this content. I don't know if that's ever happened to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Sometimes I wonder if the not interested button is just reverse psychology. Like, I wonder if it's just, no, I'm so serious. I wonder if when clicking that, it feeds it to them like, oh, this triggers something in them. Let's give them more of it. I just wonder.
I wonder too. That's a good point.
Yeah, we've all had that. Like, didn't I click not? I've heard so many people say I click not interested on this 100%. All the time and it still pops up. So like, what the fuck is that? Like, what's the point?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so I was looking up the pathway for red pill content for AI, and this is what it says. It says the starting point would be a man searches how to talk to girls, or fitness motivation, or self-improvement, or even money hacks. And the algorithm's response is to show videos with titles like Why Women Don't Respect Nice Guys or Become High Value. The emotional hook is anger plus hope. Like, it's not your fault. Women are hypergamous, but here's how you can win. And then it goes down a downward spiral where it's like the more he watches, the more extreme content shows up. Modern women are delusional. Don't ever get married, etc. So I guess that's how like the algorithm sets that up. I feel like they do it. It's definitely intentional for men and for women. Yeah. It's almost like they want men to be red pill or something, if that makes sense. Because that's how men get their power back. Because right now they feel like they're losing all this power because women, they feel oppressed and like they're losing because women have their rights or women, you know, are going their own way. They don't see that as a way to improve themselves. They see it as a way to like, oh, well, let's oppress them more. But it's almost like, and it's almost like in order for the men to regain their power, the powers that be are pushing this red pill content to them on purpose to embolden them to, I don't know, become more violent or to be more of a leader. Or I don't really know what the end game is for that. But and then they show it. They're definitely showing them that, and they're showing women like insecure things or, you know,
makeup or
and
like weight loss.
Yeah, the how to be a trad wife. Yeah, self-improvement stuff. Things that play on our insecurities as women, and 100%. Things that will lead us back to wanting to be under the thumb of a man. So you know, it's all for them. It's for the men to thrive. Everything is to benefit them, and it's just like, but it's not working in the same way. It works on some women, of course, and some men, but I think it works on more men than it does women.
Absolutely,
you know.
Yes. Well, my second piece to this is like the reason why it's so, like I said, quick and painless is because so the line between like biology and socialization, and to me, a lot of this is socialization. Like we can definitely talk about how men are more fragile, like according to their biology. That's a conversation we can have. But even in this case, I do think there's just a lot of subtle propaganda that boys like pick up on that makes this content easy to consume. Because when you think about the kind of things that boys think they're going to be when they grow up, like the kind of options they're given, right? It's immediately plants hubris in your head because it's like, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a law enforcement officer? Like, you're going to enforce the law? Are you going to be a fireman? You're going to save people from burning buildings? Are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be the president? Are you going to be a military guy? All of these things. It's, there's an underlying message there. It's like, you control society. You're in charge. Things would not happen without you. Mind you, literally the first person wouldn't have even gone to space if it weren't for women. Like, we learned this last week. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's absolute propaganda. And it's just like this never ending loop of like conviction and contradiction. And then they get mad about the contradiction and they go back to the conviction. It's like that circular reasoning that we were talking about earlier, because it's like, they'll be like, men are better than women. And then they'll run into a piece of proof that proves it wrong. And what do? Right? With that information, they just want to go back to suckle on the teat of like, men are better than women. It's, oh my God, it's so annoying. Like, it's just annoying. Like their comfort, like they're grabbing onto that for comfort, because very early in life, they're being told that like, you run society. Like I don't know. There's just this like kind of.
You're the leader. You're the natural leader just because you were born with a peen. Literally. Like, you have the peen. You're the master of your own fate. You're the master of the world. But I think women have to really think about the fact that you have to wonder why they push so hard. But people push so hard. The men are pushing so hard because they know instinctively that women are the actual value and the power dynamic. Like, you literally need a woman to exist. That's the most fundamental shit. Like, it doesn't get any more fundamental than that. At the very baseline, you would not be here being a fireman or enforcing the law if you had not passed through a woman's womb.
The portal.
Yeah, so it's almost like they have to push so hard because they know where their place actually is, but they're not comfortable with that place. But I always say men would have it a lot easier, in my opinion. Like, the pressures that they're under to be this strong leader and whatever, and they always crack under pressure, like we were saying earlier. If they were to just accept their natural place, which is to be by a woman's side and let her do what she naturally does, which naturally she's the leader, naturally she's the nurturer, she's that naturally, because she would have to nurture her young, her offspring.
It just makes
she has
sense.
that already.
Yes.
You would think it would be so much easier for them. And I'm not saying like they can be leeches or whatever. Some, actually, unpopular opinion, the men who are leeches on women figured this out.
Yeah, they're the real.
And I hate to say that, but like, they figured it out. They figured out like, why do I have to go out here and try to be a leader, and why do I have to? But we don't want men to be lazy and useless either.
No,
they figured it out, but they took it too far. They're like, oh, let the woman do it, and I'll just sit home and be a stay-at-home dad and play video games all day. You're not supposed to be a loser, but you are supposed to know your place in that way, where you come home, when your wife comes home to do whatever, both people are supposed to pick up where the other one lacks. That's how it becomes a balance. Yep. So women are going to naturally be better leaders and be stronger in certain areas over men, and men are going to naturally be better at certain areas over women. If two people can complement each other in that way and take their egos out of it and these gender norms and gender roles out of it, the nuclear family structure would be a lot better. Even though the nuclear family structure is an artificial system, it's made up, it's not real. Even though it goes against nature, the way to make it work would be everybody takes their ego out of it and work together. Men would have an easier time if they just stop trying to dominate and control things and just find you a woman that you love, find a woman that loves you, y'all become a partnership, work together, stop thinking. But the problem with a lot of men is they care too much about what other men think. And that holds them back in life. In every aspect of their life, it holds them back. That's
I was going to say, too, it's not even that we don't see nuclear families in nature. We do. We see penguins, right?
Yeah,
that's a nuclear family.
And swans.
But it's like you'd have to act like a swan or a penguin and not like, you know what I mean? Like, you would have to actually be a contributing parent, because those guys are. Like, penguins raise their young. All the mother has to do is like pop it out, I think. Or she pops out the egg and like the male sees it to completion or something. I don't know. So it's like, no, it's possible in nature. You would just have to, as a man, be cooperative. And that's what
That's what I'm
men,
saying.
that's where they struggle. And that's why the content that appeals to them is not cooperative content. And that's why they get radicalized, you know, more and more into, you're a man, you're going to have to protect yourself. You're going to have to, you're the protector, you're the provider. But if that bitch, you know, like pops off to you, then you have every right to like, it's just great. It's like circular. It absolutely makes no sense because you're trying to like take advantage of nature, but go against it at the same time. Like you said, it's like whatever setup men want works in a completely different, you know, environment, works in a lion pride, but then there's only one man. I say this like every show, but it's just like, oh my God, it's so easy. Like if you look at what exists in nature, you can just come to your own conclusions. Like it's not that hard, but it just makes it so hard for men to escape this because like speaking of cooperation and speaking of just like not being led by hubris, women usually experience ego death by the age of like 14 at the latest. Like the first time you have your period, you know what I mean? Like you're just like, oh fuck, like what is this? You know, like you have to reevaluate your whole entire life as a woman. Like you experience some form of ego death. You experience ego death as a girl, you know, and God forbid you have brothers in the family. You will experience ego death every day. Because you'll be treated differently. Like you experience all that ego death at school, right? Because, oh, well, a boy was teasing you. That's because he likes you. But if you tease him, it's because you're a bully and you're a bitch. And like, we're going to call your parents and like, how dare you? He's an upstanding young man. Like you're bullying him. And like, we saw this in the show Adolescence, you know, like people are like, yeah, she was bullying Jamie. Like, oh my God. So he killed her. Like, so that's the
that makes it okay.
That makes it okay. Yeah. So that's clearly the kind of treatment we see. And like you experience ego death every time you realize that most of the murders reported on like television are women. Like you're just like, man, I don't stand a chance out here. Like I just got to do what I can. But it's like men have to go and like have a shaman guide them through an ayahuasca journey. And, you know, they'll still, even then, like when they come back and like they have experienced ego death, then they'll get praised for the bare minimum. And by society, and then they just stop growing. It's like a natural, it's so hard, honestly, as a man to like undo the socialization because around every corner you have a chance to take the path of least resistance.
That's so true. But see, that's a part of the reason why I always wonder what part of this is socialized and which part is biology, because it seemed like they're so easily prone to just going the way that is easier for them. Like they would rather just shut down and not even try. I don't know. That's why it's so important for women, like we were talking about earlier in the show, for women to match energy. And there we are again doing labor to this unnecessary labor to get men to get on the right track. But that's the most effective to me, is to match energy. Like once again, we have to be the leaders and show them what empathy looks like. You know, or, you know, it's, you know, the work, it just proves that as the female of whatever species, we are the natural leaders, like naturally. Because here we are. We're the
drivers of evolution.
We are the drivers of evolution. I'm so glad you said that's the perfect way to put that. And here we are once again having to teach them, and this is the most diabolical way. It might not be the traditional way or the conventional way, but this is another way we have to show how to behave and act in society by being diabolical towards them.
And I hope they listen because the next step, they're really not going to like it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you saw that video by, I think she goes by Jordan the Gray. She's one of my mutuals. I don't know if you're mutuals with her, but she made a video and like the headline at the top was, no contest divorce is literally keeping men alive. And I was like, oh,
that sounds familiar. So what did she say? What was the
Well, she was just saying, like, if you outlaw no-fault divorce, then I think you remember what women used to do, right? To get out of marriages. Like, it's keeping men alive for women to be able to say, like, oh, I'm just going to leave him. Because otherwise, it's like, he's going to leave the earth. Like,
absolutely.
So,
and I am so I'm for it. Like, whatever works, you know, the more you push up against one group.
It's about survival. Forced doctrine. We're going to have to adopt that. Like, thanks, Andrew Wilson. Like, we're going to just have to get on board with that. And because, you know, two things can be true at once. Men can be stronger, but women can be, you know.
You know what I'm starting to realize? And I could be wrong about this. And I hope I am wrong about this. It seems like every generation we do a circle. We do a 360 every 100 years, it seems like. Because it's like every stride we make, we're only making those strides for this generation, for this 100-year century that we're in. And it's going to be history repeating itself 100 years from now. Like, we will literally be doing the same fights, the same argument, the same strides that we made. We're going backwards in history again. We're moving back. And I just think that's just, unfortunately, and I think only certain aspects, certain good qualities, certain good evolutionary characteristics make it into the next century, but not enough to where we don't repeat history. So we take a little bit in the next century. That's a good thing. But the rest of it is just all circular.
Well, and if you're a man like bristling against this or any of what we said, like, honestly, do yourself a favor and study male fragility, because that is what the evolution that y'all have created for yourself. Absolutely. And I don't want to say that it's like Mother Nature doing these things. Like, I don't know. I don't know if men used to be born, you know, stronger or more resilient, but it's like literally less men make it past childhood than women. Like, baby girls are more resilient. Baby girls come out 2 weeks further developed out of the womb than boys. Like, right away, we have a head start. Why? Because it's important for nature for us to survive, because we are the life givers, right? And then when you reinforce the opposite of that and you say that, no, men are better, and even the worst man is better than the best woman, right? Which, again, it's like the inverse of that is objectively true. But okay, let's even go with that premise that the worst man is better than the best woman. Well, you've created conditions where the weakest links are surviving, like, and thriving, basically. But even in that condition, like, even with all of the guardrails completely removed, with the bumpers up on your bowling lane, like, whatever, like, that does not make you a better bowler, right? Like, if you put the bumpers up, it doesn't make you a good bowler. It makes you a terrible bowler, because any which way you throw the ball, it's going to hit some pins.
Absolutely.
And so then what happens when you take the guardrails down? That you freak out, right? Because you also have not like learned to emotionally regulate yourself when the ball rolls into the gutter and you get frustrated.
Facts.
So now, like, you've only ever seen, right? Like, you've only ever seen the ball just go straight down, like, hit all the pins, like, whatever. And so you don't even have the resilience. It's like, talk about cracking under pressure. Like, you don't have the resilience not to crack under pressure. This is the first time you've ever lost, like the first time the ball's gone into the gutter. And it's like bringing it back to algorithms. It's like, that's the like extinction burst that men are experiencing. And they're like, no, like, but maybe if I just watch videos that confirm that women are weak and dumb and all that, then maybe that'll make it true.
It'll make them feel better.
Like, okay.
And they also think it'll make it true for some reason. And it just doesn't. It makes it worse, because you are, like you said,
the facts don't care about your feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not developing the needed, you know, it's just like, and I don't want to take it back to race for an example, but it's almost like what's happening in the country now, where Black people have been under pressure for so long. We've learned all the tricks of the trade and all the tools to survive. And that way, when things start happening, like, we're the last ones to crack under pressure, because we've been under pressure this entire time. So whenever you take something from a group of people, they're developing all the skills that they have to fight through anything at that point. Like, there's really nothing that it can really throw at us at this point that we haven't already either been through or haven't had to learn to survive through from the people that came before us. So it's the same thing with the men. They never had to learn empathy. They never had, you know, many of them have never been told no before, you know? So it's like, once they're told no, oh my God, now I'm finna go shoot up a school because, you know, I don't know how to handle my,
it's not funny, but
I
it's
don't know
like,
how to handle my emotions. It's like, you never learned. Especially like some of the rich kids that grew up with privilege and was never told no, you know, and people are like, how did he turn out to be a serial killer? Well, I mean, like, he never learned any human traits. Like
the Nepo baby problem. It's so true. And a lot of men have like Nepo baby energy. But the Nepo baby thing is actually real. Like Norman Reedus' son just got arrested for DV. And it's like, yeah, you had a famous dad. Nobody ever told you no. You just never had to be resilient in the face of like a challenge. So every time there's a challenge, it's like you don't know what to do. Like you just call your parent or something, or like you just solve it with money. But it's like once like the pedal is to the metal, like when your back is against the wall, you will just melt down. Like you will have, it's going to be Donald Trump, basically. Like you just, every time he's up against the wall, he has a meltdown. Like he redirects it. Like, he's just like, here, distraction. Like that's what we're experiencing as women right now. And it's interesting too, I wanted to take a quick little detour there because it's interesting that the way that women are kind of radicalized on social media is still puts a lot of responsibility on women. Like it doesn't offer women an easier way out. I watched a whole documentary on like how, and we'll put a link to it. It's like a BBC documentary. And this woman went out and she wanted to talk to women who have been getting radicalized against feminism ruining society. And like one of them's like a literal teenager, but even the way that these women are becoming radicalized, it's like, you have to do this for your country. Like you have to be a better woman for your, husband and your children. And like America's under attack, like all this stuff that they're not really saying to men. Like men are not being radicalized in the same way. Like some of them are, but a lot of men are just being still just fed misogynistic like propaganda. But the women, for them to be radicalized in the same direction, it's like you have to place a lot of responsibility on them. And then women are like, okay, like let me see what I can do here. And it's like they literally have a 16-year-old girl as like one of the thought leaders in the community. And it's like, oh my God.
Crazy.
And like on the other side of it, it's just all a bunch of like old white men. So it's like even she like has the maturity of like the men that like are building these platforms. Like it's just crazy. Like even on the other side of it, it's like women are not being radicalized by people saying to them, oh, do this and your life will be easier. Do this and a man's going to come along and like cook every meal and like clean up after you, and you can still have your career and you can still travel and make all these speeches about like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think about Candace Owens and I'm like, I wonder if her husband is getting emasculated yet by her like traveling and like growing in popularity and like doing like, is he one day going to come out and be like, oh yeah, she wasn't really like marriage material and like I had to divorce her because she wasn't cooking and cleaning? Or even worse, does she come home and play housewife? Like to appease him,
exactly.
Even though she's probably the breadwinner. I don't know. I'm fascinated.
Yeah, I am too. I think, unfortunately, Candace Owens might be a lost cause.
Yeah.
But I just don't, I think in her situation, her husband is probably okay with her doing all of this as long as she does not outshine him or out-earn him.
But who's her husband?
That's when she's going to start having problems. Okay, so did you see that clip of the My Body, Your Choice?
Yeah.
I mean, Your Body, My Choice guy. What's his name?
Yeah, Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, did you see him where he said he was exposing everybody? He was exposing what all the Republicans were doing or whatever. The funniest thing is I believe everything he's saying, by the way. Like, I believe all
sure. I think
happened.
They have the dirt on each other. Yeah, for sure.
And I forgot. He mentioned Candace Owens' husband was a part of something. I have to go back and watch it again, but I can't remember. But in that moment, I was thinking, yeah, they're both some grifters, and they're both just. I think she's really more of a grifter. But in situations like hers, I think things are okay probably until the woman starts to outshine the guy, and that's unfortunate. But I want to ask you this. So all the ways that women have to step up to the plate and be leaders and take on all this crap. Do you think that it would be better to be in that position as a woman than to be in a position where you're not learning that resilience and you're not put in the oppressive situation, so you're not like learning those tools to survive out here? Because it's kind of like a double-edged sword in one. It's like on one case, women should be able to rest and not have to deal with all of that. But then on the other hand, if you don't go through the trenches, you're never going to build up the muscle memory to be able to combat things out in the real world. So you'll just be more vulnerable it's almost like, for an example, I always tell people, growing up with a wonderful father for a lot of women who didn't see a lot of crap and they didn't have a father to teach them what was out there, it makes them naive to the game. Mm-hmm. So it's like, on one hand, you have a great father that's like in your corner and all that. But if he doesn't teach you about men, if he doesn't teach you about how to survive, you're going to go out into the world naked as hell and you're not going to know what's actually out there. So it's one thing to have a good parent and that shelters you from the reality. And it's another thing to have a good parent that, tells you what it is. And so on one hand, for some women, I've seen this growing up, like some women grew up naive because they were not taught what was really out there. So when people tell me like, oh, well, you didn't have your dad in your home, even though my dad was in my life my entire life, but he wasn't in the home. My mom broke up with him when we were like 7 years old. They're like, oh, you feel this way about men because you didn't have your father in your house. And I'm like, no, I'm grateful that I saw a lot of things that I saw, because if I hadn't, I would have found myself trapped in the situation that a lot of women find themselves in. And I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? So on one hand, it's like a good thing. On one hand, it's a bad thing. And then on the other hand, it's a good thing. It's like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally feel you.
Because I would never want to go back. I would never want to go back and have my situation change and be different. I'm glad everything happened the way it did, because it put me in a position where I can defend myself. I can take up for myself. I can speak up for myself, all of that, and not find myself in situations. So as women in society where we're always taking on all of these responsibilities, we've had to fight against so much, and that's why we're so resilient. So I wonder, at the end of it, is it a good thing, or was it a good thing, if that makes sense?
It's an interesting question, because it's like the framing of the question is like the most interesting part to me, because it's like we're framing it as, well, if women don't know like how dangerous men are, and if women are not forced to deal with like, right, the consequences of like men being dangerous to them. And to me, and I don't know if this is just like my neurodivergent brain, I'm like, it's a crazy question to ask, not because like you're asking it in an extremely practical way.
Yeah.
But when we realistically
the very fact that we have to ask that
at the question,
I totally get it.
It's like, well, isn't there enough out there against us already? Like it just as the human species, right? Like we've already had to overcome so much. Yeah. And it's like, we really should be cooperating, men and women, and like we really could do this by men being held to the same standards as women. Right? Like nobody has to lose anything. We just have to stop giving men like the excuses and basically all of these easy ramps and all of these like kind of like, pats on the head for the bare minimum, because really it's like, yes, women will push society forward if given no choice, because women are viscerally aware of like children and the future, and like we're just oriented to think in that long-term way, whereas men are oriented to think like immediate power, immediate gratification, like how can I win in this situation, how can I like conquer, overtake, whatever. And it's like, well, one of us is being taught cooperation, and it's like, well, you have to stick beside your man, well, you have to cook for him, you have to clean for him, you have to put yourself aside, all that. So one is cooperative and one is competitive. It's like not like magnets, it's like polar opposites, and you're just like pushing each other away. And there is, what I'm saying? It's like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
God, like practically, yes, I wish we could just push for men to like we just need to remove the gamut of excuses, or like that woman was saying, I reposted a video about the whole like male fragility thing, and this woman said like it's almost like we should separate boys and girls when they're younger, so that boys can be on like their own level, which is lower than the girls, because it's like triggering to them to be around girls.
I know.
Like, this is a scientist, like, and she's just talking about what we know as far as like how men and women react to just like with their biology, and like we keep running away from that as a society, and we're just always, it's kind of like you said, it's that circle, because it's that circular logic. It's like, well, men need women to be submissive so that they can be better leaders, and it's like the point B is you're not good leaders if you
You're
need
right.
other people to adjust themselves entirely so that you can
in order
then
for you to, yeah.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
we're not getting to point C, we're going back to point A. But no, you need to be more submissive. You need to not have a job.
Yeah.
You need to not be able to vote. You need to not be able to speak out in public. And it's like, we just keep going back to point A. And it's like, point C is right there. Point C is right fucking there. And we just can't, because the premise is that men are better than women. And we just can't get away from that. And it's like the algorithms kind of reflect that back to us. Like, I don't want to go like too far off of topic, but it's just like, it's because men are taught this circular logic that they get stuck in this content like algorithm loop, like a lot of boys that have sort of deconstructed it, they will say that like, yeah, I got sucked into this way of thinking by a YouTube compilation called Feminist Gets Owned, or, like blue-haired feminist destroyed. And it's like, yeah, but like, why are you threatened by feminism? Feminism is just equality. Like, it's just women asking to not, I don't know, like to just not be made to feel so different and lesser. And
to me, this whole feminism is what ruined the family, and it ruined the nuclear this, and it ruined society. That whole discussion proves, unfortunately, that most of them are not fit for leadership, because you would not be threatened. There will be nothing about women wanting to be seen as human that would fucking threaten you. There's nothing about that should threaten you. That's the problem. It's like, and I hate that a lot of women don't catch. A lot of women have been catching on to it, but there's a lot of women who don't catch on to, like when we were talking about the discussion about men saying women shouldn't vote. It's like, y'all are agreeing with them and you don't understand why they don't want you to vote. Like, you should be focusing on the why. And it threatens a lot of women's reality too, to accept the why. Because if you sit down and have to ask yourself, why does my husband not want me to vote? Why does he not want me to have a say-so over what's happening in society? What happens with my body, my rights, my autonomy? If you sit down and focus on that as a woman, you're going to have to come to the conclusion that he's not the natural leader. And a lot of women don't want to face that, because a lot of women are naturally lazy, in my opinion, and they really don't want to take responsibility for their own lives. And so they have this brainwashing thought process too, where it's like, the man is supposed to take care of me. I'm supposed to be a princess, and I'm supposed to rest in my femininity and whatever else. And they don't want to actually face that. The same way men don't want to face it. Those are like the male identified women.
It creates this like feedback loop where then women are like, fine, but I don't want to go to work. I don't want to sit under a fluorescent light. I don't want to go 50-50. I want you just to take care of me. Like, I want you just to do this. And I don't know if it's like out of laziness or out of the realization that it's like, you can't have it all. Like, if you're a woman that wants a family, it's like, do you even have a choice to like still keep going to work and like still be like fulfilled in how much time you're spending with your kids? Like, you know what I mean? Then what's kind of the point of having kids? Like, if they're being like raised by a daycare or whatever, so that both people can keep their job, it's like, it's just an interesting like feedback loop you get into that I've observed in like that the feminism patterns in all over the world, but in Russia specifically, like women there were like at the top of their fields, like in STEM. And it was very well, in like the 70s and the 80s, or like the 60s maybe, where women in Russia were like the unspoken but very clear leaders. Like when a lot of people are like, oh, it's a social experiment to say like she when it's a doctor. And I'm like, I've actually like didn't meet a whole lot of he doctors when I was a little girl.
Really?
Like every doctor was a woman. Every scientist was a woman. Like every teacher, like the male subjects, like women were just everywhere. And like it was almost Barbie land, except nobody's allowed to say that like, oh, these are Barbies and they're doing whatever they want. It's like, you're just supposed to have a different opinion of it. But a lot of those women were like bitter at feminism, because at the end of the day, your only option was still a man who was going to become a drunk in his 30s and like stop, taking care of you and your kids. And like, you just never got to like relax as a woman. Like you never got to like, I feel like women look at men and they're like, oh, you get to come home and like kick your feet up. And like, I'm just stuck here doing everything. It's like, I want princess treatment on some level. Cause it's like, when it comes to dealing with men, it's like, you have to take something, you know, otherwise they're just going to take from you.
Yeah, I agree.
I can totally see like why you would say that, because there are women that are just like I've experienced some personally that are like, no, I'm just gonna not work. And, you know, they don't really care how it like affects them. They're like, I'll just find another man or whatever. And it's like, that's your prerogative. But yeah.
But the problem that I have, the only problem I have with that is that those be the same women somewhere crying later, wanting sympathy. And that's what irritates me. Because my whole thing is, if you want, like I always say, my favorite thing to say, if you want to fold socks for a living, that is your business. I am always
don't
going
give your
to support
power
you.
away and then
I
complain you have no power.
Yeah, you can't complain.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly. And it's like my sympathy meter goes almost to zero with women like that. Because it's like those same women call us bitter. And it's like, no, we're actually trying to help you. But if you want to call me bitter, that's fine. But don't expect me or people like me to care when you get on TikTok. Like I always say, I'm a content creator. So the only thing I'm going to do with your video once you get back and say, you guys, I don't understand why this is so hard. And oh my God, the only thing I'm going to do as a content creator is use your video in my videos and make content. Like that's it. And the sympathy is typically out the window for the most part for some of them, not all of them, because there's some women that are young and they just didn't know. And, you know, I feel really bad for them. They didn't have anybody to teach them. But the ones who are like, oh, you remember that video about that girl who was cussing out child-free women, saying we were bitter bitches and whatever else. Women like that, I just don't feel sorry for. It's like you did all of that, and then now you're 3 more kids in deep, 3 years down the road, and now you're sitting there crying and you're depressed, and it's like, no. But I just feel like the only way to truly get princess treatment, and for the average woman, of course, there are exceptions to this, of course. For the average woman to get princess treatment, I'm sorry, but don't have any kids. Like, that's the only way you're going to have some kind of equality in your marriage, is to let it just be about y'all. Like, he's all about you, you're all about him. That's the closest you're going to get to princess treatment.
He's all about you, and you're all about you.
And you're all about you.
Ladies.
Exactly. Correction. Absolutely. That's the closest you're going to get to it. And once you decide to be a mother, and there's nothing wrong with if you want to be a mother, I get it. I'm a woman, I understand. But once you decide that, you have to know the motherhood penalty that's going to come with that. And you got to be on it. You have to be on it. Yeah, you have
literally
to be prepared for it.
As if you were going to do
penalty.
It yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
As if you were going to do it yourself. How would you set yourself up? How would you prevent any kind of disaster? Like, what would you need to have? And that's how you should go into having kids. Because it brings me to my next point, is that a lot of these trad wives, a lot of these young girls, they're getting radicalized by the alt-right content on their algorithms, where it seems like, right, you know, this appeals to a lot of like young, white, conventionally attractive or whatever women, just according to societal standards, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't realize that every pregnancy is like playing Russian roulette. First of all, with your very life, but also with how you're going to fit into the male gaze. After each pregnancy, you're rolling the dice, and you never know, because sometimes, you know, it like women will be fine. They'll bounce right back. And then there will come that one pregnancy, and it
goes downhill after that.
Right. It not even downhill. Like, your body is just different, right? There's nothing wrong with that inherently, right? You maybe like your metabolism slows down, right? Like, that just happens. But your husband might look at that and say, well, I was promised this, and this. You told me, basically, by agreeing to marry me and by agreeing to be provided for by me, that you are going to stay this fun, young, tight, perky, you know, happy, pleasant, all that kind of stuff your entire life, no matter what happens. Like, even if we have a child with special needs, I don't want to hear about it. Yeah, even if
your kid almost kills you on the birthing table, I don't want to hear about it. You're alive. You didn't die. So pretend like it didn't happen. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah. You had a miscarriage. What do you want me to do about it? You know, like, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to say. It's like, you will get burned by the same rhetoric that you support, by letting men off the hook for emotional labor, for like like all this kind of stuff, you're going to pay for that because life is not black and white like that. Life is not binary. Like either you are or you aren't, like the same people like advocate against like universal healthcare because they just think nothing bad will ever happen to them because right now they're able to work out and like eat healthy and all this stuff. It's like, okay, well, call me in 20 years when you have developed some like hereditary disease, when you have problems from all the working out you're doing. Now you have bad knees and stuff like that. And now you voted against like universal health care and none of that's available to you. And you have to like basically die in the street. It's like all of this is going to come back and bite you in the ass. Like being male centered in any way, being hierarchy centered, putting yourself above other people, being like, oh, well, I'm better because of this. Like I'm better because I do this or I don't do this. It's like all of that is such brainwash. It just reinforces the very gender norms that are going to bite you in the ass.
And they always do because there's no VIP section in patriarchy.
Yeah.
I stole that comment from somebody's post yesterday.
That's so good.
I saw that and I was like, oh my God. Whoever, to the lady, if y'all watch this podcast, whoever said that, shout out to you because that's like the best fucking description. There is no VIP section in patriarchy, ladies.
Absolutely not. No, and seriously, like
you can pay into it. You can pay for those tables at that club, at that bar, and get VIP treatment. But when it's all said and done, everybody's getting kicked out of this bar after a certain time. So at the end of the day, you're not special. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's gonna come back and bite them. The very thing that they support will be their downfall later on down the road if they're not careful. Because you can do this and be careful and like really plan everything out and be okay. But I can't stress that enough with women. Like y'all just have to be smart about it. Princess treatment equals being a dink. Dual income, no kids. That's the closest you're going to get to princess treatment. Or, I don't know, this whole lavender marriage
where
thing.
the man still pays the bills. Like,
yeah,
that's the only dink situation like you should be in. If it's like 50-50, you might as well get a roommate. Might as well just live by yourself. Like, why are you putting your body at risk with a man? And that kind of leads me to like, this is what progressive men are being served up by their algorithm, right? Like we've even had, suggestions on our YouTube. AI has suggested that we do videos on like men being emotionally manipulated after a breakup and like stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you this is the shit that they're showing progressive men. It's like how to do ethical non-monogamy and like paint your nails. It's like you are still not like getting served good, genuine like content that pushes back on your socialization as a man. Like you're not getting like helpful content. You're just getting content that keeps you on that path of least resistance. It's like, oh, well, paint your nails and you can fuck more bitches. Like, oh, like I've actually heard about a man, like I've actually heard a man talk like that, right? Where he's like, yeah, these conservative guys will make fun of me like for painting my nails, but it's like, I get more bitches than you. I fucked more women than you like in the past week. And it's like, oh, so y'all are even more diabolical.
Yeah.
Like you're even more gross,
You know why? Because they're not doing it for the right reasons.
Exactly.
You're not doing all of this to be a better person. You're doing it to be self-serving.
Because
and that's
you already think that you're a good person and you're going to think that you're an even better person for doing the bare minimum. You're going to be like, yeah, well, I painted my nails and she still, broke up with me and she still called me like a cheater and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I cheated on her, but it's like we had an open relationship that she didn't know about, but I was just telling other girls that. But like she made me feel unsafe to tell her the truth. Like I know of a man who was like, yeah, it took me so long to realize like I had to go to therapy to realize that like my ex was abusing me. And the abuse in question was like her being, radicalized over the course of their marriage and being like, you need to pick up your slack around the house. You need to do this and that. And he literally was like, that's abuse. And he had a therapist tell him that and like confirm that. And it's just like, oh my God.
Was it a woman therapist? I bet you it was a woman therapist.
I bet you it was too, because they're absolutely diabolical and they know what they're doing. It's so gross. It's a money grab. And I say this all the time, and I'm sorry to any like, well-intentioned therapists out there, but most therapists, not only do they not deconstruct the patriarchy, but they also like use it to their advantage. Like they use it to keep couples like hooked and coming back to couples therapy. Sure. You know, like I talk about this all the time too, where I'm like, you're speaking to the man like he's a toddler, and you're speaking to the woman like she has the ancient wisdom of like, you know, a 200,000-year-old God. Like she is supposed to like understand everything. She's supposed to understand where he's coming from, like love him anyway. But when it comes to the man, it's like, oh, well, can you spend 30 minutes with her per week? Can you, you know, maybe take some time out of your day to write, I love you on a sticky note and like stick it to the mirror? And the man will still be like, no, man, that's like too much. Like, I can't do that. Like, what if I forget? Like,
if I ever went to marriage counseling, I swear my entire goal of going would be just to file for divorce when it was all over. Like, just to stick it to the therapist. Like, you thought you were helping. No, you led me right to the divorce.
Out of spite. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be out of spite. Because I wouldn't want to go anyways. The only thing I could possibly think about going to therapy for, like couples counseling, would be to help him get through like the loss of a parent, or because he's like having a hard time.
Sure. Yeah.
It would have to be something like that. It would never be because you cheated on me.
Yes.
Or because you were out here like doing.
It would have to be a situation where it's like, this is above my pay grade as like a wife or girlfriend. Like we need to go figure this out. But yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't even go. But if I ever did go, it would be for that reason. For the same reason, like when I broke up with one of my exes some years back, and he kept, you know, wanting to come back. I was like, I flat out told him. I said, you don't want me. I am not the same person. Mm-hmm. I'm not who you think I was. And he's like, no, we can work it out and blah, blah, blah. And I finally told him, I said, if I get back with you, the only reason why would just be to hurt you in the worst possible way. Like I would literally fuck one of your friends. Like I would literally do something so hurtful.
That's the kind of diabolical
And he looked at me
need.
like this, and he could not believe. And I was deadly serious because really I wanted him to just accept. I wanted it to be over. I wanted him to accept that it was over. And he just wouldn't. And I had to think of something horrible to say to him, which I wasn't that far off either. I was actually like, I would literally do this shit. Like I would literally do it just to hurt you. So
they
same thing with marriage counseling.
For an answer.
Yeah, they don't.
They only take payment in the form of like their own medicine. I'm telling you, like it just won't work unless you are mean to them. I don't know.
That's a good one too.
We're not mean enough. And yeah. Oh my gosh. I just found out our mailbag is about a therapist who said that the patriarchy is gone. And now I can't wait to get to it.
Okay, yeah, let's get to it.
Because see, this is exactly what we're talking about. So yeah, ladies, just keep this in mind. Yeah, just keep this in mind. Know that men are not more diabolical lately. I just think it used to take a lot more to radicalize men like this. Like they had to actually like invest, like they had to go to the library and find diabolical books. They had to go to a Blockbuster and find the most like male-centered, you know, like like muscles out kind of movie just to get that like reinforcement. And now it's like they just have to pop on their phone. They just have to open an app and it feeds them this stuff anyway. I will link articles too that will kind of describe the radicalization process, just the behind the scenes, because it really was nothing that the men even had to interact with. Like the content would just pop up every week. They would go to check on it. And every week the content, or like every few days, the content would just get more extreme. So the slippery slope is there. The companies are doing nothing about it. When they were asked, they said, oh yeah, there's plenty of tools, you know, all that. So please keep that in mind. If you're dating a man who's like chronically online, he has all these favorite podcasts, he has all these like TikToks, you know, like Instagram, like he's just always on social media and he has no reason to be. Like it's just fun for him. Just know he's getting radicalized and know that he's going to become increasingly more difficult to deal with. And like, even if he tries to deconstruct some of this stuff, like it's going to take one bad experience for him to become completely re-radicalized in like a worse direction. Like I swear to God, this is just what happens. So keep an eye out for that. And please join us for the mailbag segment. We're so excited to get into that. All right, welcome to our mailbag segment. I'm making Sovereign read it today, so I'm excited to dig into this one.
So it says, thank you, Lisa, Gwen, and Sovereign for everything you do. Yours and other feminist creator content helped me to leave my ex and to heal after the breakup and build my confidence back.
We love to hear it.
I know.
Congrats.
That's so great. So the story goes, I had a car accident and got stuck on the other side of Iceland for a week until I could fix my car. I had therapy today, and my therapist asked me, what do I do when I'm stuck here? I'm like, mostly I lie down, journal, and watch feminist content. So we go back and forth, and she says, I think patriarchy is gone. She is 20 years older than me, a great trauma therapist, very open-minded and such. So it's the first time when she says something I absolutely disagree with. She goes, I have couples where men are very emotionally intelligent. This is one case. The husband knew more about their kids' doctors, favorite teachers, and toys than the wife did. I was shocked. Here I say, you were shocked that the father was parenting his kids? Mm-hmm. This alone means the patriarchy is nowhere near being gone. Mm-hmm. I can extend my grace for women for generations before, but when I talk to women my age who don't think feminism is even needed and the patriarchy is a thing from the past, I feel lost for words. I don't want to cut off these women, and I have some spare energy to explain them stuff. I just don't know where to start. Do you have any advice? How would you approach such conversation if this was a woman you want to have in your life? Okay. Yeah.
I first of all, I just want to say that I very much commend you on that, and like knowing that outreach is kind of the best way to work with people, because, you know, for a while there, it was really easy to have the sentiment of like, you know, F everybody, and like if you're not on exactly the same page, then we can't be friends, we can't get along and stuff. And I guess I'm like happy to, I don't know, just like once again goes out to like women being leaders in our society. Like women are just like, okay, well, being mad at people didn't help. So I guess we have to like engage with like, I guess I'll use my spare energy to like educate other women, which I think is very noble of you, very commendable of you. And it sucks that there's nobody else to do it. And it sucks that it even has to be done. But I just want to say that first and foremost, it really is one of the only ways to like get through to people. I think it's cool that you're willing to do that. What are your thoughts, Sovereign?
First and foremost, it is very hard to be friends with women with that mindset. Because in my mind, when people say stuff like the patriarchy is gone and feminism is not needed and all, like I automatically know that this person is either not paying attention to what's happening around them, or they lack the critical thinking to be able to, they lack nuance. They don't know how to pick up on context clues or whatever. And at my age, I don't have the patience for that anymore. I really don't. I don't have anything left in the gas tank, because it is so draining and so oh my God, I can't even describe the words. If you want these people in your life to stay in your life, because she said she didn't really want to get rid of them, my best advice would probably be to try to avoid these conversations if they drain you. If they're draining to you and they frustrate you, and if you leave in a bad mood, you know, worse than you came type of thing, I would try to avoid those conversations. But depending on how receptive any of them are, if they're kind of open-minded, if they listen to you, if they respect your opinion and stuff, I would bring up certain situations, you know, like if you hear something on TikTok or hear something on the news or whatever, you can kind of like discuss it in a nice, gentle way and kind of pick their brains on it and kind of correct them, you know, little by little. Like, well, you know, if you look at it this way, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, there's ways to do it. This really all boils down to the types of women they are. If they are receptive to what you're saying and stuff, I would just plant seeds here and there. Just plant seeds. You don't have to be preachy. Yeah. Ask questions and kind of pick their brains about it. If they are closed-minded and radicalized in the outright pipeline and whatever else, you might be wasting your time. And it will be a situation where those women are either going to be a lost cause and there's something you can do, or they're going to come to their realization later on down the road anyway. And you may just have to wait it out and see if it happens. Either way, I would say, this is just me, I emotionally detach from people like that. just in case they don't come around and, learn their lesson.
Definitely
just in
don't
case.
invest anything that has to do with like your self-worth into this.
Yeah.
Like everything has to do with their self-worth and their like, people are just oftentimes projecting, and this happens with therapists too. And it's like, I just don't know a world in which I would want to continue seeing that person as a therapist, because it's like, what is not clicking to you? Like when you look around, it's just very interesting that she was able to have these views based on like one case. Like she was like, yeah, like, oh, men these days know more about women than women, or like children than women do. And it's like, okay, how many men? Oh, well, I had this one guy the other day. Okay, one guy. So over like, you could ask questions like kind of leading questions, like, so how many men like that do you encounter in your day-to-day life? Like, is your husband like that? Is every man you deal with like that? Okay, so then like we can't generalize that yet, right? This is an exception, actually. This is not, you can't extrapolate that. And it's like, you should have learned that in therapist school. You should have learned research methods. There's like a class for it. It's like statistics, research, all of that. You have to know what makes something a statistic. You have to know what makes something that you can say that about. Oh, well, men these days, because the only thing we can say that about is male violence statistics. Like we know that. Running off on their children statistics. We know that. We have a lot of those numbers. So it's like going off of that is very different than going off of like one privileged couple, because mind you, again, you're a therapist. So you're probably not seeing people that are in survival mode, like people that are broke, people that are struggling. You're seeing, again, a man on the path of least, he's on the path of least resistance somehow. I promise you that, and if he's not, then good for him. But like, that was probably a lot of like his wife doing mental labor or refusing to do it. It always still comes down to the women. Like, why is that man like that?
And it could be a situation too, where maybe the kids are not even his, and maybe hers. And she married into a situation where it's like she checked out because it's no telling why that was the case.
Yes.
But you know what I think with women therapists that are like this? If you think of the curriculum and the same way that a lot of drugs and a lot of innovative technologies and stuff, how it was all made for men, in the same way when you think of like the psychologists back in the day were mostly all men. I think that when you learn, so you have to take psychology and all these courses in college. I think it's all male-centered. Yes. And so women go to college and they're like, oh, this is in the psychology books. So this is the way that I have to look at this. So I think a lot of women will turn off their own nuance. They'll turn off their own context clues in their brain because this is what I was taught in school. I think that's why a lot of women therapists, the ones that are like this, I think that's where that comes from. They're already male-centered because of how they were most likely socialized in society. And then on top of that, they double down on their beliefs by going to school that was created by men. Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole thought process behind psychology was, Freud and, Erickson and all these other people. And so I don't even know if the women, I feel like they should be educated enough to know that there is nuance to a lot of this, but some of them are so brainwashed. If I were to ever come across a woman therapist like that, I would challenge the fuck out of her because that's just the way my brain works. I can't not challenge you on my way out the door because I'm probably going to leave. But before I leave, I'm going to be petty. I'm going to be a petty bitch and I'm going to challenge the fuck out of you. Yeah. And then hopefully you might see, because I talk to people all the time and, they tell me, I never really thought about it that way before. Oh, that's an interesting thing. And I can talk to people like that. Because they're a little bit more open-minded. So if these women in your life are open-minded, I would definitely plant seeds. If not, don't waste your time. Don't do what I would do. I would be petty and challenge the therapist because I get a kick out of shit like that. But don't do that. No,
it sounds like you want to do it in good faith, and so I'm like I said, I do think that is kind of the way forward. Like if you see women that are on the right side but not quite, there's a lot of like male-centered women on the left, but they're like, 25% male centered, or like,
Right.
it's
Right.
not as bad. It's
They're
like
not
you
bad.
still are working on like purging the male gaze from like your internal like compass. You're still kind of like learning what you like versus like, being a cool girl, all that stuff. That's normal. That's just part of like the decentering men process. That's part of the centering yourself process. In that process, you will also find that a lot of women are not on your side. You know what I mean? Like that's something that, you'll find out how to gauge for male-centered women, and you'll find out which women can be worked with, which women cannot, because it can be hard to make friends because very few women are on the lower end of that spectrum where it's like they've really done the work. And for most of us, the work is going to be lifelong. It's going to be like in the little things. It might be, cropping up everywhere because we're forced into these behaviors like to stay safe or to stay relevant or something like that. Because it's like funny that a lot of women have a lot to say about other women getting plastic surgery. And yet it's the women that will be, the most critical of other women's appearance. And so it's like, we live in this very double-edged, we have to walk on a double-edged sword where it's like we're just never quite safe around men, around women, like whatever. But I do think that the antidote is just to like shine a light by asking questions, by pointing out, like you said, the inconsistencies, like even if it sometimes does come down to pettiness, it's like, oh, well, a seed was planted. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So
that's all you can really do is plant seeds and don't attach yourself to the outcome. Yes. That's very important. Don't go in thinking you have to change somebody's mindset. Just your job is to plant the seeds and go. Like, hopefully the seed will germinate and soon, right after. Maybe it might not germinate for another couple months or another few years, maybe. But as long as the seed is planted, that's all you can do. Don't stress out about it after the fact. Just move on to, focus on whatever you do every day, Or focus on the friends of yours that you may have that are very open-minded, have discussions with them.
Yeah. And like, just to wrap it up, it's also like, I think context of like where you live is also important because like Iceland, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's good to remind people of like, there's countries like America. There's countries like America where women don't have rights. So it's like, no, the patriarchy is still very much in full swing. Like, you know what I mean? Even more so than America. There's like countries in the Middle East. There's countries in Africa where like female genital mutilation is still happening.
It's still happening.
We are, how can you say that the patriarchy is gone? That's crazy.
They just want to believe that because it helps them. I think it's a survival, like a defense mechanism for some women.
Especially for like boomer aged women. Like a lot of times they're like, racism is done. We dealt with it, like sexism done. Like it's like, it's
a defense mechanism because people don't, especially when you're a boomer age and you're like nearing the end of your life, you really don't want to accept that this is the world that you had to live in and your time is almost out.
And you're leaving behind.
Yeah. That's hard to accept that. It's almost like the midlife crisis thing. When people have a midlife crisis, people they're going through this like internal battle. Yes. And you have to come to terms. And this is why a lot of people suffer from cognitive dissonance. Yeah. Because they just don't want to accept, you have this, you're holding on to this one thought, but reality is showing you the exact opposite. But you are still fighting against, what's actually happening because you're fighting yourself. You don't want to let go of those ideologies. And, I think that's where that comes from. And we all suffer with that when it comes to different things at different times. Like I think we've all had cognitive dissonance about a lot of things at some point in time in life. Yeah. But some people just get stuck in it. It is. It's very much a part of it. But some people just get stuck in that and they don't know how to get out. And so a woman at her big age, I'm assuming, saying that we're not in patriarchy, come on. Like you can't be, no.
Yeah. And it's like, just because things have improved, like that doesn't mean the fight is over. That doesn't mean we're not constantly fighting against like a stream that wants to take us somewhere else. Because, men are always waiting for this. Like they're lying in the grass like snakes, I swear. Because that's what happened in America. Like as soon as they were given permission, it's like your body, my choice.
Absolutely.
I want a trad wife. Every man should have a government mandated woman. Like,
Women
it just
shouldn't vote.
popped off. We were literally like dressing up all in pink and going to see the Barbie movie the year prior. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it just like that, right on cue. It's like we came back and it was the Mojo Dojo Casa House.
Oh my God, I know.
It's like, it's crazy. So things can change really fucking quick. And like, it's unfortunately for us, like men are just always waiting for us to become more vulnerable or like whatever. Like they're just always trying to work against this because they're insecure. Like this is kind of goes back to the main segment. It's like men are forced to operate out of fear and women are forced to operate out of survival. And it explains everything like that we see. That's why women are just like less prone to crack under pressure, like whatever. It's been survival. Like you said, Sovereign, this applies, you know, intersectionally as well. It's like when it comes to white people, like versus people of color, it's like you just have been allowed to get away with the barest of minimums. And that's not helpful to your growth as a person. Like that's why, you know, you're less creative. That's why you got to copy everything somebody else does. Like you have not been working out those muscles. So those muscles are weak. So
not the barest of minimums.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to wrap this up. Let's read through our polls. We had a very interesting poll question. We now post them to our YouTube as well. So we have 3 different poll sources. This is turning into like a research facility.
I know.
So our latest question was, with conservatives fighting to take more and more rights away from women, which rights would you most like to see taken away from men? So we had A was Viagra. And the reasoning was, if it doesn't work, maybe that's just Mother Nature saying you're not good enough to reproduce, big guy. Podcasting. Every mic confiscated is one less alpha male monologue about crypto and women's market value. Hair transplants. They should suffer in their male pattern baldness as God ordained. Or being outside at night unsupervised. Welcome to the text me when you get home club. So, which right would you most like to see taken away from men?
Probably the last one for me.
That was the clear winner.
Was it?
Yes. Yes. Well, I think that's the one that like really every woman experiences, right? It's like not all of us want to get like gender affirming surgery, you know, like a hair transplant or whatever. But like there is that like visceral fear of like being outside at night that men also like to weaponize against us. Well, who would protect you? And it's like
protect us from who?
Yes, every single time.
Sir,
it's like
protect us from what?
Yes.
A stray dog, a rabid fucking coyote that got loose. Well, coyotes are always loose, but you know what I mean. Like, what are you protecting us from? Like, what exactly?
And that's why I've been saying that, like, you know, maybe men should have the same fear. Like, maybe women should be the ones saying that. Well, who's going to protect you when you go outside at night? And the men are going to be like, oh, from whom?
Yeah,
and be
exactly.
Like, me and my girls, because you went outside, you're wearing your chains, you're wearing your watch, you're wearing your expensive shoes. That means you want somebody to take it. That means you'd be okay with if you got jumped and all that shit got stolen, right? I mean, that means it's okay if there's a roving gang of women, you know, with like bats and tasers and stuff that's just like, stop right there and give me all of your valuables. Give me all of your money. You had a wad of cash you were going to go to the strip club with, not no more, because you're not safe at night. You better bring your, you know what I mean? You better wear your cheap clothes. You better wear your fake chain. You better wear, like, take care.
What you just said just reminded me of that video, of that clip. And I just shared it. And it's like, I don't know if he can play that or not, but I just want you to hear it.
The hashtag across the video is women in male fields. But here we go. They're at a party.
What you drinking, stud?
I'm just here to dance with my friends.
And why are you dressed like a slut? Whatever. You're fat anyways.
Don't listen to her. You've had 2 kids. You look amazing.
Oh my God, when I saw that, I
It's
died.
so good.
Oh Oh my God, because that's literally every woman on the planet has had to go through that at least once. Like you just want to hang out with your friends at the club or whatever, and a guy where you show dressed like a whore, or you look like you. I watched that like I don't know how many times. I died laughing. She said, "You're fat anyway." So fuck you. You're.
Have you ever seen that creator that does the like if we talk to men the way that we talk to women role reversals? We'll have to link her because I always forget the people's name. I've never been able to like remember someone's username, but I remember her posting like all of these scenarios like over and over again, and it's so helpful to see just how crazy we talk to women, like because she'd be like, "Oh, Brad, did you bring your kid to work today? Oh, like that's really like irresponsible, but I guess we can like deal with it. Yeah. Brad, this is why we don't really hire dads, because you guys really like fuck up the synergy around the office, and like you always got your kids and you're just so undependable. You know what I mean? It's like, I bet your wife doesn't do this to her boss. I bet she never has to pick up her kid." And it's like, yeah, exactly. I just love it. So
we need to make that popular. Like we really need to put that out in the ether. Like women need to participate. Even if you're just joking, even if it's just satire, like you literally need to.
And I'm telling you, like in the face of like us possibly losing more rights and all of that, ladies, it's really important to not live in fear. The only reason that they're doing this, the only reason the pushback is so huge and monumental and like they're trying to take our rights away is because they're fucking scared. It's because whatever we're doing is fucking working, and it's like they're shaking in their boots. And so this is the extinction burst. This is them trying the last possible grip on like this fake reality that they've created, like this simulated environment that they've created, that women are like waking up and destroying the matrix. Take up space, continue taking up space, continue asking the questions, continue flipping the scenarios. Be difficult. Exactly. And like, of course, mind your safety and everything, but like, do not be afraid to like take up space, protect yourself legally, protect yourself physically, all that. It's important to not back down right now. So
it's important that women do this, because a lot of women are afraid to, because they're afraid of what will happen. But what will actually end up happening is that it will embolden you to not live in fear even more. Like once you stand up for yourself that one time, you're going to be like, that felt really good. Yep. I'm going to keep doing that shit, And so it's a snowball effect.
People are going to treat you better across the board.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like some women might not like it. Some men might not like it, but I've never been mean to a man and like it turned the relationship for the worse. It always turned it for the better. The only thing that turns it for the worse is like, laying yourself out as a mat. Like then they'll just know that they can keep doing it. They can keep walking all over you.
Absolutely.
But every time you stand up to a man, he actually respects you a little bit more, because that's just how they're wired to work. They're wired that submission means you like agree with them and like, whatever, you're not going to push back. And it's like, you have to push back on that, because men just don't respect submissive women. They want submissive women, but they don't respect them.
They don't respect them though.
You're never going to regret being
the whole point in getting you and wanting you is so that they don't have to respect you. That they want you so that they don't have to respect you. They want you in a corner. They want you to be their servant or to be whatever, but you're not to be respected. You're not on the same level as me. And it's the same thing too with women who are bullies. A lot of times once you stand up to a woman bully, like they will typically, depending on the way you stand up, like your method of standing up for yourself, they will typically leave you alone, or y'all will become cool. I've become cool with women over the years, like because they realize you're not a pushover. And sometimes it'll force women to respect you more when you stand up for yourself. But the more you cower down and the more you let people get away with things, the worse it gets every time.
Yes.
Whether you're dealing with men or women. So just remember, stand up for yourself. You're gonna love how it feels that first time.
I guarantee you.
Yes, I guarantee. And it's gonna keep on,
Yeah, it builds, and there are women out there like in society that people just don't mess with. Like their whole community will know, oh, that's Miss, so and so. We don't mess with her. And it's just because she has in her, usually her older age, become completely mean, unapologetic and fucking like just gets what she wants at any cost. Like it is what it is, but listen, it's a recipe and we must not lose the recipes, okay? The recipe of the crone, the recipe of the mean, bitter old woman is not to be lost. All right, ladies, and start it as young as possible. You know what I mean? This male validation is cheap and pointless and will get you nowhere. But
absolutely nowhere.
Without going off in like a whole different
No, that actually leads us. No, that leads us into our crumpets.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Is it better to be loved or feared?
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, let's get into it. And we'll list the recommendations below. I have a recommendation for a BBC documentary, and then I have the articles, like I said, that I used to cite this research, just so that y'all are aware. The algorithms don't just work by engagement. It's a path of least resistance type thing. Yeah, it just kind of gets pushed out. Yeah, y'all can do your own like in-depth reading on that because we just don't have time to cover this kind of stuff in the main segment. But we hope you enjoy it. Please, if you haven't, follow us on the socials, join the Patreon, rate us 5 stars, share with a friend, all that good stuff. And Godspeed, ladies. We love you.
Bye.